Welcome to today's Explainer. I am genuinely so glad you're joining me. We're going to take our time today to demystify a monumental shift in tech. We are moving from basic chat to something called AI agents and Agentic RAG. Think of it as the leap from simple conversations to actual autonomous problem solving. It's a lot to unpack, so we're going to take it slow and break it down together.
To keep us totally on track, I've laid out a really simple three-act roadmap for us. We'll start with Chapter 1, the concept. Then we'll move into Chapter 2, the example, so you can see it in action. And finally, Chapter 3, the takeaway. Nice and easy.
All right, let's dive into Chapter 1, the concept. As we get started, I want you to kind of mentally pause and completely rethink everything you already know about standard chatbots. We're going way beyond that today. So let's look at this core definition. A regular AI, it just answers your question and stops. That's it. But an AI agent? Well, an agent is given a goal, a credit card, and the keys to a web browser, and it actually works by itself until the job is fully done. Just let that sink in for a second. The credit card, the web browser? We're moving from an AI that acts like a static encyclopedia to one that acts like a highly capable, autonomous employee. Now, to actually build this kind of autonomy, engineers have had to fundamentally shift the AI's cognitive mode. You're probably familiar with System 1 thinking. It's fast, it's intuitive, it's built on pure reflexes. Think of your standard GPT-4o. But true agents, they need System 2 thinking. This is slow, highly logical, and deeply deliberate, kind of like an O1 or R1 model. An agent literally requires this slower deliberation so it can actually plan, catch its own mistakes, and course correct. So how do we actually build one? Honestly, it helps to think of it like human anatomy. The agent formula essentially relies on three main components. First up, you have the reasoning model. This is the CPU, the executive brain, doing all that slow System 2 thinking we just talked about. Second, you have the tools. Think of these as the limbs, like APIs and web browsers that let the agent reach out and interact with the real world. And third, memory, because without memory, the agent just forgets its previous step. When you combine this brain, these limbs, and that crucial memory, you get continuous, autonomous action. Let's see how this all comes together to form the actual heartbeat of an agent. I want you to visualize this flow with me, moving from one step to the next. Step 1 is plan. The agent takes a massive goal and breaks it down into bite-sized tasks. Step 2 is action. It uses those tool limbs to execute the very first task. And then, crucially, Step 3 is observation. It actually pauses and reflects. Did that work? Did it fail? And then it loops right back to Step 1. Imagine pointing from plan to action to observation. It's this recurring, unbreakable circle that just keeps spinning until the job is finally done.
Okay, moving right along to Chapter 2, the example. Let's make all this theory a bit more tangible and see exactly how it operates in the real world.
Imagine you ask an AI this question. Who is the CEO of the company that acquired Figma? A basic chatbot is probably going to struggle here. It might even confidently hallucinate a completely wrong name. And why is that? Well, because the answer is actually a puzzle. It's what we call a multi-hop problem. You literally can't know who the CEO is until you figure out who made the acquisition first. It inherently requires multiple steps. To solve these multi-step puzzles, your standard linear RAG pipelines just completely fail. A linear system, it follows a fixed, predetermined path. It pulls data once, takes a guess, and stops. But Agentic RAG, it uses that dynamic loop we talked about. If a linear system pulls the wrong document, boom, you just get a bad answer. An agentic system, on the other hand, has incredibly high self-correction. It realizes it made a mistake and actively goes back to search again. Complex, hard queries absolutely demand this kind of flexibility. So here's exactly how our agent solves that Figma puzzle, using its dynamic loop. It kicks off Hop 1. Its very first sub-goal is simply to search who acquired Figma. It fires up its browser tool, observes the search results, and figures out the answer is Adobe. Perfect. Now it updates its internal memory, what engineers call its state object, and it writes a brand new sub-goal for Hop 2. Now it searches CEO of Adobe. It gets the result, Shantanu Narayan. By breaking the problem down and carefully carrying the context from that first hop over to the second hop, it flawlessly synthesizes the final proof for you. And honestly, this brings us to the true magic of the system. Let's say during Hop 1, the agent tries to search an internal company database. And oops, the database is down, or the info just isn't there. A regular system would just crash and spit out an "I don't know."
But thanks to agentic filtering and plan revision, if a step fails, our agent pauses, reflects, and pivots its entire strategy on the fly. It automatically rewrites the next step. It might say to itself, okay, well, the internal database failed. Let me just try a public web search instead. That is what true autonomy looks like.
Which brings us to Chapter 3, the takeaway. Because as incredible as this is, handing a machine real autonomy comes with some highly specific and frankly quite difficult engineering hurdles.
The absolute biggest challenge we face is something called agentic drift. Now, giving an AI autonomy means giving it the freedom to explore, sure, but it also means it can sometimes wander completely off track. Agentic drift happens when an agent starts following this massive rabbit hole of substeps. It searches one thing, gets a little distracted by a weird result, searches another thing, and suddenly, it has completely forgotten the original goal you gave it. It literally loses its context and just gets entirely lost in its own reasoning loop.
To prevent our agents from just wandering off into the digital wilderness, engineers have to build in some really strict safeguards. First up is goal anchoring. We forcefully pin the original objective right to the front of the agent's memory, so it literally can't forget it. Next is super fascinating. We use a secondary observer model. Imagine a tiny, smaller AI whose only job is to sit on the main agent's shoulder and grade its actions. If that observer model notices the agent drifting away from the pinned goal, it sounds an alarm. And that leads to our third safeguard, forced replanning. The agent is stopped dead in its tracks and is forced to reset and start planning from scratch.
Ultimately, because of all this freedom in looping, we end up facing a pretty fundamental trade-off. On one hand, we get incredibly high retrieval quality. These agents can synthesize proof across complex, multi-hop problems that normal search engines wouldn't even dare touch. But we trade that for lower reliability. Because the agent is non-deterministic, meaning it completely decides its own path on the fly, if you ask it the exact same question twice, it might take a slightly different journey and give you a slightly differently formatted answer each time. We are essentially trading predictable mediocrity for unpredictable brilliance.
Which leaves us with a pretty profound question to think about today. As we build systems that truly think for themselves, how are we going to balance our quest for perfect, highly reliable answers with the beautifully unpredictable nature of an autonomous mind? It is without a doubt the defining engineering challenge of our time. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to learn with me today and for patiently exploring the architecture of the future together. I hope you're leaving this explainer feeling totally empowered and intensely curious about what these autonomous systems are going to do next. Keep learning, and I will see you next time.